Hey guys, welcome back to HerTalk podcast. I'm Cheyenne.
I'm Houston.
And today we're going to talk about something a little bit more serious, but something that definitely probably that you guys can relate to if you've been through this situation. We are actually going to chat with Houston about dating after divorce and kind of what that looks like. Houston, you have told our viewers and our listeners before that you have 3 kids and they're old enough to know like what's going on in your life and, you know, that you're dating somebody new. And so kind of walk us through that process and like what that's like. When were you ready to actually start dating again? Like how long was it? Because I feel like women, they want, it's especially because, and keep in mind, I don't know if you're comfortable with me sharing this part, but it wasn't your idea to get a divorce.
Yeah.
So you weren't expecting that. You weren't ready to start dating. You didn't want to date anybody else.
I was totally blindsided by my divorce.
Yeah. You wanted to be with your ex still.
Yeah.
And that's got to be, there's got to be women out there that are going through the same thing. And you almost probably feel guilty about moving on and dating somebody new. Your life has been this person for, you know, a long time. And you're what the heck? So kind of walk us through what that's like.
Yeah. So whenever I got divorced, there were so many people around me that stepped in and just like picked me up off the floor. I'm gonna cry. Sorry. Sherry. But I just like, those people can testify to me saying this because I was like, I will never marry again. I will never love again. I am not worthy. I am like used up garbage and I have 3 kids. And also not even about like me. I just didn't want to love again because I was so just like shattered and blindsided by my partner who we didn't have a perfect marriage. That doesn't exist obviously. But I was like, no, like hilarious. Like I will never get married again. And I specifically, I have an Instagram account with a like really close, and it's not a massive following, but I love my people and my people love me. And like I connect with them and I talk to them and they've followed me for years, like through so many things. And then one day, like, you know, when I was blindsided by the divorce, I was still on Instagram at that time. I had a presence and I was like, I can't show my face right now. And my friends were like, okay, you know, take your time, you know, it's fine. And I was like, no, I can't even be around someone I can't like be around someone who's about to get married. I can't talk about marriage. Like I don't want to taint and ruin what that beautiful sanction is because I have so much hate in my heart for marriage and something that I like believed in and cherished and wanted so bad as a little girl. And so like I just refused. So I just like went blind. I totally just like went off social media because I was so scared to like hurt anyone else's marriage or anyone. I didn't want to put a bad taste in anyone's mouth. So when I say that, I guess I don't know when I knew I was ready. I think it was when the moment I knew I was ready was when I was able to talk about what happened to me with other people. Because for so long, like I couldn't talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to accept that it was my reality. And so it was April, I remember, of last year. That was when I decided, I was like, okay, I'm going to talk about it. And I went on my Instagram and told people, you know, why I had been gone, what happened, and that I was ready to come back. I wasn't sure what the new me was going to be or look like, but I was back and I was ready. And then I don't know what friend of mine told me to get on a dating app. So I got on the dating apps basically and just was terrified of that. More so because I like organic, natural ways of meeting friends or like your potential to be spouse or partner. So I just was like, it just feels very forced. I'm old school in that way. But I did it. And my girlfriend was like, okay, which one do you want to get on? And I was like, farmers only. Duh. Like,
That's so great.
I have to.
Yeah, you're like, Houston is a Southern girl through and through. If you don't know her, she is like so kind, so Southern, so straightforward. You were just like pure Texas. Like if you're like, I want to meet a Texas female, her. Like
that is such a
spitting
compliment.
image, that is her to the day she dies.
Such a compliment. Thank you. Also very true.
Yeah. So if you think she's going to date somebody from like California or New York,
Absolutely
like
not.
you better pack your bags. She's not doing that.
Yeah. No. So I think it was Chelsea, one of my best friend from high school. She's a pro. Sorry, Chelsea. She's a pro on the apps, girl. She doesn't take it serious, but she helped me create my profile. And I did like, I was like, okay, so like, she was like, we're not doing farmers only. And I was like, why? I was like, what about Christian Mingle? And she was like, okay. She was like, I said, what about Tinder? And she was like, nobody goes on Tinder, Houston. I was like, okay, well, I don't know.
That is true. I actually do know that.
And so we did Hinge and Bumble.
Okay.
And I don't know. I just like made my profile like exactly if you were gonna like meet me at the grocery store or talk to me. I just made it like real
very
as I
organic.
am. Yeah, just normal, like, I mean, pretty pictures, obviously, but like not filtered. Yeah. And just like,
I have a question though.
Yeah.
Did you say that you have like 3 kids off the bat on the app? Did you show pictures of your kids on there?
No,
I
didn't
know
show.
people do that.
No, I didn't show kid. I didn't say that I had, I said that I had kids, and I just was I'm very direct, like honest, blunt person, and I didn't like leave any of that out. I'm just like,
I love that.
You had to be, I don't know. I just was very specific on what I wanted.
And I probably wanted someone serious coming to you on this app, that knew a little bit about you.
Has kids. Like I was okay with them having kids, and I didn't want them to like smoke or do drugs. I wanted you to like, I don't know, whatever it is that you want. Like I encourage you to just put that, no matter if it's like, however it makes you, no matter what it makes you feel like it's going to make others perceive you as. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
I totally get it.
Say what you want on there. I did that. If I could have put in there that this is disgusting, and I kind of regret it at this point, but that I wanted like the guy that I was going to date to dip, I would have, because I'm a sick hillbilly like that. Like it's so sexy to me. Oh my God, sweating. Woo!
So sick.
So, and my friends were like, "You're disgusting." But a fat dip in your mouth and just walking over to me in your jeans and cowboy boots on a fucking mission.
Yeah, with it like in your back pocket,
Take
like
me
it's a
out
little
to the
circle
dance
that's
hall.
like, yeah,
yes, like skull ring,
yes,
in the pocket.
It's like stained in there, or whatever.
Yeah,
what's it like imprinted in their butt?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll get to the reason why that's funny later. But so I don't know where we were going, but I made my profile. I got all kinds of weird. I mean, you're gonna get very weird people coming at you.
Yeah.
Or people that just like do not make any sense, and like, how could you possibly think that you could match with me? Like, what are you talking about? I just kind of went through like, I really just speed dated, but I was open to it. I like went on the date. I was like, yeah, hi, I'm Houston. I have 3 kids. Like, tell me your story. Like, I had a really fucked up divorce. You want to hear about it? Like, I had nothing to really hide.
Yeah.
Because after everything I went through, I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Like,
what else could happen?
Here I am. Like, I am a broken mess who has put herself back together by the grace of God and my friends. And if you can't love me like for this, then you need to leave the restaurant.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
And honestly, the guys that I like dated were fine, but like they just weren't for me. And I kind of was like, I'm just gonna keep going. And my friends were like, you're doing like, you're hardcore. And I'm like, I know that the person is out there.
Yeah, and you live like, it's like you live in a small town that's connected to a bunch of other small towns, and it can't be easy trying to find a person that you completely vibe with whenever everything's just like so spread out.
Yeah,
here.
that is
like,
another
not
thing.
to say like where you live. I'm not going to say exactly where you live, but like, you know what I mean? It's like there's so many big cities around you ish, but there's also like small country towns that you could meet somebody.
That's where the good ones are hiding, honey.
Exactly.
Sometimes. But no, I actually they call it like your radius or whatever on your thing. And I did mine at like over an hour and 20 minutes in all areas. And
you hit that on the dot.
Huh?
You hit that on the dot.
I know.
Ding, ding.
I did.
Hour 20, honey. Ding, ding.
Yeah, literally. And so, yeah, I don't know.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know that's super hard to talk about, and I know you're helping a lot of people that are going through this. It's crazy what you went through. I will say it's completely unacceptable how he treated you, and I hate that. And I wish, like, people who know you just know that you should never have gone through that. And I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
And so my next question for you is, when you found Kale, we all know we've talked about Kale before. I know Kale. That's how Houston and I met. But so when you met Kale and you guys went on your first date, like you kind of talked about what you guys talked about. When did you feel it was appropriate for him to meet your children? And like, how scary was that? And like, how can you help our listeners and our viewers understand that they can be safe and it's okay? And that it's okay if that relationship failed too, if it ever did, you know, because it does.
Yeah.
And how to get over like mom guilt.
Yeah.
You know, sorry, that's a lot of questions.
No. So I think that honestly, the second day, and let me just preface, when people would say this to me before, I didn't believe them. Like, I would be like, okay, you're like a fairy tale dreamer, which I'm a huge dreamer. But in the sense, like, when you like meet your true love, like you just know, like I just like had a hard time like with that, especially after what I went through. But whenever I met Kale, our first date, I honestly kind of knew like whatever we were going to have before I even met him was going to be pretty fucking magical.
Yeah,
Like,
you guys are very similar. It's crazy. Like you guys, like when I met Houston, she came over to our house and like stayed the night, and I met her the next morning because they got over to my house so late, and I was so excited to meet you.
I was so nervous.
And I met you, and I was like, I looked at Chris and I was like, oh my God, they're the same person. They're perfect for each other. And I just met you. It was wild.
I remember you said it a bunch that week, and I was like, yay.
I was like, this is crazy.
Team Houston, they love me. Okay, so as far as meeting, so let me back up. I kind of knew already with Kale that whatever we were going to have, whether it be, short term, long term, whatever, I just knew it was going to be great. So then our first date happened, and I was just like jaw dropped. Like it was an instant, instant chemistry. And like, I remember he put his hand on my hand, and it was like fireworks in my whole body.
I love that.
And I hadn't felt that before. I mean, I had to really work at my marriage. I put a lot of work in emotionally, and that like takes a lot out of a person, especially a woman. And like anyways, we'll go into that later, but I just felt it with him big time. And we were inseparable from that point on for the next 7 days. And please, like when I say this, like please do not compare my story to whatever you're going through, like whatever guy you're maybe dating or like your husband or whatever, because honestly, I know that what we have is like rare. It's rare. And how it happened is rare. And so when people ask me for dating advice after divorce, I kind of want to hide that because I don't want them to feel like they're not going to get it.
Get that. Yeah.
And so, but I'm the first to tell you that I was a firm believer that I was never going to get it. Y'all heard me. Like I was like, I'm never going to get it, my love. No, y'all never going to get it.
There you go. I feel like a good lesson to that story with Houston is that, just don't give up. Like even if it's not like your first or second or third guy or girl that you're dating or meeting, like don't give up on finding like a good true love again, because it can happen.
But you do need to feel like emotionally put back together a little bit. Mm-hmm. Not all the way. In control. You need to feel in control, and you're not going to feel in control for a while. If you're going through a divorce right now and you're like in one of the 5 stages of divorce grief, like now is not the time to date. I'm telling you right now is not the time. Mm-hmm. You will know. You'll feel it. And it might take longer. I craved and needed so much from my marriage that I wasn't getting emotionally, physically. And it really messed me up. And so whenever Kale and I had our connection, it just was like, I don't know. I was ready. I was ready to feel touched again and loved again and wanted and desired. Mm-hmm. And the other guy, a few guys that I went out with, I just was like, When I met Kale, it was magic, fireworks, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so I knew. And so I think when you're a mom, in regards to your question about how do you know when to introduce your kids, when you're a mom, you have like this insane radar protection and like over your kids and yourself. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't, all of those like doors were down. Like everything was just, I didn't feel that with Kale. Like I knew that I could trust my kids around him. I wanted them to meet immediately.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
But it was hard for me because it's very hard. And I know some people that don't, they take like a lot longer. I introduced them like
pretty quick though. I mean, like you guys intertwined each other in each other's lives very fast. Like we met you pretty quick.
Yeah, and it was very scary. And sometimes it's still scary to me because we aren't engaged. We, we're just boyfriend and girlfriend.
But you just gotta like rip the Band-Aid off.
You have to rip the Band-Aid, but you have to, like what I was saying about the mother radar. You have to, like whoever that person is, you have to zero in on that person and make sure that person is a good person through and through. And don't bring trash around your family. Don't bring trash around your kids. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah. I am a victim of that. My mother did it to me. It wasn't good for me.
You know what it feels like.
And I don't blame her for that. She was young and she was going through a hard time. But like, it's very easy to do because you're, as a mom and as a wife, if you were neglected, as a mom, first of all, you're already neglected. Like you give your whole heart and love to your children until they leave your house, really. Mm-hmm. And then it's a whole nother thing. But as a mom and a mother who's neglected from like their own self and desires, it's very, very easy to get out into the dating world and only think about yourself and put your children in the corner.
Yep.
And only want to focus on yourself and be happy because everyone's telling you like, yeah, it's about you now. Like you're beautiful. Go out there. Like do your thing. Mm-hmm. It's very hard.
And it affects your kids. I mean, I don't have kids, but I know growing up in like several broken homes and having so many issues that everyone looked at me like I was just a kid and I don't understand. But they do understand. Mm-hmm. They see what's going on. They might choose to not react to it, or they might not know how to express their emotions or their feelings behind it, but they know what's going on.
They know what's going on.
They can see sadness. They can feel depression. Like they're smart.
For sure. Yeah. So we just kind of, Kale and I just kind of kept it light with the kids as far as when we introduced them. And I give him so much credit and props because he had like, not serious boundaries, but like we had conversations prior to, he just was very gentle around them, and he still is to this day. I'm not saying to this day, like it's been like 10 years, but like he still is. Yeah. He's still really, you guys
are coming up on your 1 year though.
I know.
So yeah, it's been a minute.
Find someone that puts you and your children first, and that genuinely has questions and cares about them.
Yeah.
And
like he does truly care. But Kale is, again, I know Kale. Kale loves kids. He's great with his nieces and nephews. He's always been good with kids. So I feel like he really does care, just especially how he is with your son, P, who's 15. He's really good with him. He really like takes time to understand the things that he likes and the things that Kale likes, and he puts them together and it's like, hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? Do you want to go hunting? Do you want to go fishing? And he's good at that. And like
those are all things I saw in him. I'm a very good judge of character. Well, I thought I was. Sometimes I'm not. Judge.
I'm a good judge.
I saw that in him, and so I just like, you just have to know. You have to go with your gut when it comes to your kids. And
when you know, you know.
What is that?
You don't know that song?
Is it Megan Maroney?
No, you never hear that on TV?
No.
It's so funny. It's like a dating app thing.
Oh.
When you know, you know. I'm going to find it for you. It's so good. Okay, so since your divorce and starting a new life, is there anything that you see different about yourself? Like, do you have more confidence? Is there a financial gain from this? Like, do you feel like you're doing something better than you would have in your marriage now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in my marriage, I didn't know that I felt this way until I wasn't in it. In my marriage, I felt very like limited, and I am like I don't limit myself on things. Like I go hard, I dream big. I have always dreamed big, and he did not do that. And that's really hard to be with someone who, when you're a dreamer, and I'm sure so many of you can relate, when you're a dreamer and you're married to or dating someone who isn't, like they almost like they stop you, they limit you, they
put a lot of fear in your head,
fear and doubt and control. And I didn't realize that I had turned into someone who was in a little box. Like, and I felt like I was trying to get out of the box and like be creative and do my own things, but I was limited because of the control.
No support either. It's really hard to do something like that.
And I was trying to raise the kids, and he's a great dad and is a great co-parent with me then and now. But I didn't realize what I was capable of. And thankfully, I got out of it, and I can look back and see like I can do whatever I want to do. It's not easy. It's hard as shit. But I just realized like I got out of the box. It was stuck in my head, and I was in a little tiny box, and I like couldn't see a way other than being a makeup artist and a mom and married to him. Like I couldn't see anything further than that. And now fast forward to like a year and a half later, I'm in a relationship with someone who I would have first of all never picked. Like if I'm like looks wise, like he's so handsome, but he's just so not my type.
Yeah.
So I'm just in this relationship with this person who I would have never picked for myself. He's younger than me, and then not enough about him, like really more about me. My business is going in a completely different direction. I'm still doing makeup, but with this podcast, like this is one of those things that you hear and listen to people talk about, and you're like, wow, that's so cool that they did that. Well, I'm sitting here saying it and doing it, and like that's so crazy to me.
It is. It's scary to get out there and tell your whole business to everybody.
This has been really scary for me, honestly.
Yeah.
Just because I'm very vulnerable and open, and I love sharing my story with a purpose to help others. But I was a little timid about this, just because it's so personal. But I knew it was going to be good, and that to me is huge growth from the person that I was a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And just stepping into my own skin and walking in that, and walking and being like proud of what I overcame versus like walking around like with a big like divorce like scarlet letter D on my chest. Like that's how I felt for so long. And I guess my best advice would be to just pick yourself up no matter what you look like and keep going. Walk like one foot in front of the other. Sometimes it's literally 5 minutes at a time. Sometimes it's 30 seconds at a time. But you have to keep going. And there were so many days that I didn't want to live. Like I did not. I wanted to die. I would Google how much, trazodone does it take to die. I hated my life. Like I would cry in a ball in the closet and hold all of his clothes and just sob.
Yeah.
So to think like that I was there and I'm here today, like I'm so fucking proud of myself. And I say that because you can do that too. And you can date again. And, or if you don't want to fucking date, don't date. You'll know when you're ready. You will feel it in your body.
Yeah.
And just be selective. And also another friend of mine, she gave me this tip when I was dating the few others that I was dating at first. Like, I'm talking like quick dates, like just here and there, whatever. She was like, because I was like, why is this not going like the way I want it to go? She's like, stop showing all of your cards. Like, and I show all my cards to whoever. Like, I'm just like, here I am, baby. And with Kale, I really didn't. Like, I kind of was a little, I was a little more reserved with him. And I don't know if I should tell this. I'm going to tell it and we can edit if we need to.
Okay.
I told Kale that I didn't want to sleep with him for the first year.
I was going to ask you
about this. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Okay.
The first year. You guys know her.
But I was listening to my friend, Emily, love you, EKB. And she was like, we both just went through a divorce at the same time. And she is so fucking strong. She's stronger than I am. She's a badass. And she's a pro dater.
I love
She
it.
always gives me good tips. And she loves Kale.
Pro dater. That is so clever.
She was like, don't show all of your cards and keep them close to your heart. And I did that with Kale. And I told him, like, I really would, I need to know, like, before we go on a date. That's actually a really good tip. Y'all should try that. Because my friends were like, he's not going to go. Like, there's no way. If you tell a guy that you don't want to sleep with him for the first year before you even meet him. And he was like, I can go back. I can look at the conversation. He totally respected it. And knowing him now, I'm like, oh my God. And me too. I'm like, we are so silly.
Yeah, 100%.
But he totally respected it. And
he does
that
respect
to me
boundaries.
was a huge lime green flag.
Oh yeah.
Lime green.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And like, he was not bullshitting me. Like,
No.
I obviously was bullshitting him because it was my idea to break the pack. But
no, he is really big on boundaries. Like,
yeah.
You know that now.
So that's just,
He'll totally respect you. And he just wants to get to know you as a person. Like,
so ask the person that you just say what you want. Say what you want in life.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be dating, your job, your friendships, just say what you want. Because you're the only person. You are your freaking own advocate. You have to stand up for yourself.
absolutely. I think that's great advice. Really, that really is. That's perfect. It's wild that you have gone through everything that you've gone through. And I think it's so awesome that you are like back on top of your life because like you're very confident. You know what you want. And it's so great to see you like bloom into this like person that you were hiding for so long. And you get to be that way for your kids, and your kids are getting to see this new person that's not really a new person. It's a person that you've always been. You just haven't had the opportunity to do it because you haven't had the support. You haven't had the love.
Yeah.
And you need that. Mm-hmm. They say like, oh, you could do anything on your own.
No, and
Not really.
I want to give credit to my friends, not my family, honestly, but my friends who told me things that were true, but I did not believe them. But they kept telling me, like, you were going to be okay. You are so smart. You are so beautiful. Like, you're not going to be lonely for long. It wasn't even about being lonely. It was just like, you are going to kick ass. My best friend was like, it's Houston 2.0. That's going to be you. Mm-hmm. But they never stopped telling me that.
That's good friends.
And one day I was like, you're right. Thank you. But I really give a lot of credit to them because I really don't think I would have been okay had I not had people
without them
telling me. So the power of speaking positivity into others is huge and doing it to yourself. And I'm not very good at that, but I'm trying to be better.
Yeah.
So just
so
manifest and listen and be thankful for your support, even if it's one person.
And if you know someone who's struggling right now and if you are listening to this podcast and you have that one person that comes to your head, why don't you text them right now? It doesn't need to be a call. It doesn't need to be a phone call. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. You just text them like, hey, thinking about you. Hope you're doing all right. Hope like if sending you some love or like, just something, anything.
Yeah.
Just,
I
like,
had friends that
out
would
to
just
those
come
people.
bring me soup or just like check on me they would be like, pulse check. And I'd be like, no pulse.
Beep.
Yeah. Flat line.
Yeah. But keeping it funny like that is good. It's good
And
for
I'm
the
also
soul.
here to help and as, however I can to answer questions and be a support system. And I know we can talk about, how to set up your dating profile and also how to find an attorney because I went through some shitty ones.
That's a good topic. How to find an attorney.
I have someone who reached out to me, a follower, asking me all kinds of questions about dating and, finding an attorney and how to know when. And those are all like feelings I felt like I was just underwater and I couldn't breathe because it was so fucking overwhelming.
Yeah.
But I had people that were like, no, I didn't know you, but people like, just like what you would say, we're going to sit down. Here's 5 things we're going to do today and it's fine.
Yep.
So I can be that for you, however.
Absolutely. Yeah. You totally can be that for people. She's very good at it. She's very direct. So don't take it wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think my last question for you about this topic, not necessarily about you or Kayla and your dating, but maybe this is for people out there who their ex from their divorce, them dating, how to navigate that and your emotions, and how to not let and wear your emotions out like proudly to where it like they know that they're affected by it, or should they, you know, like how do people navigate that? Because there are people out there where, you know, they've been cheated on and they get told, hey, like I want a divorce, and it's because they have another partner, they have another person that they're sharing their lives with now.
Yeah.
Like how do you navigate that, and like what are some things that helped you with that?
Yeah, I think that I just from the divorce and the trauma and the stress and the pain that came after, once I got to a place where once I found out my ex was dating again, my body froze for sure, but then I just like let it go, because my body was just like, you can't handle any more not hate, that's not the right word. You can't handle any more pain or grief or angst or anything that's negative. Your body can't handle it. So just release it.
Just cut the tie.
Release it. And that's what I did. I don't know how I did it, but I just was like, okay, I think, okay. Like, and I processed it. I didn't say what I would have said probably, but I just processed it and kept it to myself, and then just kind of let it run its course. And yeah, I didn't have the desire to fight, or I don't know. It's not in my control anymore.
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of a beautiful thing to just like
completely just let it go.
Yeah.
Because like obviously it wasn't meant for you. What happens is going to happen, and you can't control everything.
Yeah. I mean, it's
it
definitely not
good.
easy. It's not easy. And you know, there's comparison, and there's what did I do that wasn't enough that you're getting from that person? Like that's a natural. I think that's natural. I would just say, choose your words wisely, and remember, like, whatever you say, like when you're, I don't know, talking about your ex, like sometimes is it worth the fight?
Yeah.
Like, it's not worth the fight for me anymore. It's not. So, you know, if it comes to a point where I have to get involved, you know, then I will. But I guess I trusted that it wasn't God's hands and not mine anymore.
Beautifully
so
said.
I just released it. It wasn't easy, but I don't know.
I think that's great. That's beautiful. No, for real. It really is. It's not worth the hassle. It's not worth the anger. Anger and keeping anger inside of you, just so some of you guys know, some of you probably do know this, but it's not good for your health. Stress is a killer. Anger is a killer. Like, there is no reason to keep a grudge and like hold all that hate in your heart for someone that doesn't deserve it at all.
Yeah. And I will say, like, I don't want to diminish if it's a relationship that, you know, if you're the person that, you know, you're witnessing being in another relationship with, if they like really wronged you and they just like cheated on you over and over and over again, and like they're just like rubbing it in your face, like that's a very different, you know, bottom line is everyone's scenario is different. So comparison is the absolute wrong thing to do here. I'm just trying to say, like, I don't know, I don't want to take away, like some situations are harder, like mine, you know, and I don't want to go too much into that with him because out of respect for privacy and stuff. But I just think take a deep breath and think before you speak.
Yeah. Use the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method.
Yeah.
Breathe in, out, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just think, like, is it worth it?
Yeah.
You know? Oh, actually, this is Ivanka. Is it Ivanka Trump who always takes a pause before she speaks? It's her, right? Not to bring up anything politic-wise, but Ivanka Trump, you notice whenever she's in her speaking engagements, she always takes a second before she answers a question. It's almost like she takes a deep breath and she pauses, and it's a pretty lengthy pause. You can tell she's really thinking about what she wants to say. And I think whether you are on whatever side, it doesn't matter at all. It's just about having that respect for yourself for not saying something that you don't mean, or not letting the anger come out.
Yeah, and that goes back to holding your cards close to your heart, you know, versus just like spilling everything out.
Okay, guys, that was you're very strong for that episode, for telling us your truth, and thank you so much for sharing with us. I know that's hard, and I know you've been through a lot, and I hate what you've been through. It makes me so mad. But I also am glad that, you know, you worked through it. You're growing so much, like you're learning so much about yourself that's like new and amazing, and your children are going to see this and they're going to think you're a kick-ass, and they already think you're a badass. But like, how cool to like overcome this and be able to talk about this with people and help other people grow and be that soundboard for your kids in the future.
I still feel wobbly at times, but
yeah, which is totally normal.
Yeah.
I totally agree. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. We love you.
Love you.
So good. This is for the girls, not the boys. No,
For the girls, honey.
But thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed this incredible episode, and we hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday. Houston, would you like to close us out?
Thank y'all for being here, for listening. I'm here for you always, and I love you guys.
Love you guys.
Bye.
All right. Bye.